Last week was probably the best trading week I've ever had. Everything just worked out perfectly fine. The executions were perfect, and it was just a really good week overall. I have not done a week trade breakdown in a while, so let's just get right into it. So the first trade that I took was on Monday. It was on GJ. We came from a downtrend in London session. You can see that we're breaking constant lows, and then getting into New York session, we've been super bullish. Then we had this very big push down, and then I was like, there's no ways we're gonna keep dropping for keep dropping for the rest of the New York session. I was like, surely we're gonna get a pullback, and we got a pullback right in our demand zone. I did also live trade this video if you want to go watch me take it live. And all I did was wait for it to break a candle, which was right there. This is just a regular 5-minute demand. There was no higher time frame confluence, and I just took this for a 1-to-1 around about there, and it did go up like just a little bit. You could have taken it for like a 1 or 1.5, and then it came all the way back down, and then only went up for like the rest of the day. So you would have had to have re-entered if you were holding for a little bit longer. But if you did re-enter and held, you could have caught this crazy move. That was Monday. And then on Tuesday, I knew this was a risky setup. I knew this wasn't like the greatest setup from all the past years of me trading. Like, these setups always lose, but I still ended up trying to give it a chance, and I did end up losing. So it's just a regular supply that was right over here. But as you can see, London was bearish, and then coming into New York session, it's most likely not going to continue in the same direction as London, and I still try to take a risk on that, and it did not end up winning. So we just had a regular 5-minute supply, no higher time frame confluence, and then I got in at break of this candle, I believe it was, and we got stopped out literally right away. So we just got break a candle, and then I hopped in right there, and it was just a quick reversal just like that. And then it actually, I believe it dropped a little bit later on and then continued up for the rest of the day. So I guess I just had the direction wrong in this trade, and something to learn from, to not try and not take continuation trades from London session. Another reason why I do think the supply also ended up losing is that we had a liquidity grab right there. We didn't close below this low, and we grabbed this low right here. So it could be another reason why it just ended up pushing up from that point and then stopping us out. So another thing to look out for is make sure that we're not like grabbing liquidity when we're coming towards our supply or our demands. And then let's move on to Thursday. And I just dropped a video about this, about how to use the higher time frame as confluence, and then we caught a trade that literally worked out perfectly with it. So I dropped a video like how to use higher time frame confluence. I'll put it up on screen, and as I dropped that video, we caught an amazing trade that literally lined up with it. So this was a 1 hour demand. So let's just go to the 1 hour. As we can, let's turn off the sessions indicator just so it looks a little bit more clear. But this is New York session. So as you can see, this right here is just a regular 1 hour demand. We had a breaker structure. We came all the way back down. We tapped into this 1 hour demand. Now we go to the 5-minute. You couldn't scale the zone on the 15-minute, only the 5-minute. So the bigger zone is the 1 hour, just like that. And then you can see that we can scale this zone down on the 5-minute just like that. And it lines up perfectly inside of the 1 hour. And then we got a tap, and then I waited on break of this candle. But now let me just explain something. So at first I was not supposed to trade on Thursday because, as you guys can see, my face is still a little bit swollen. I went to go get my wisdom teeth taken out on Thursday, but then everything kind of got delayed to get my teeth out. So I hopped on the charts for around like 2 hours before I actually went in to get my operation. And then I saw this trade. I was like, okay, wait, there's a 1 hour demand, there's a 5-minute demand. I was like, okay, you know what? I'll get in at break a candle. So I got in at break a candle, a little bit higher than actual break a candle there. I think I got in a little bit there. I think I got in like somewhere there. And then I had stops below. And then as soon as I entered to this trade, the doctor came, called me, and said that I got to go for my operation now. So I just set my TP and I set my stop loss. So I set my TP all the way up here for a little bit over a 1 to 5. So okay, it was a little bit over a 1 to 5, so my entry had to have been higher, something like that. So this is how I set out this trade. I had my TP all the way at these highs here. Just because it was a 1 hour demand, I had a lot of confidence in this trade that we could actually end up getting to those highs, which we ended up doing. But there was news, so news did end up actually helping this trade a lot. That's why it actually went like this high up. So yeah, the news just hit the 1 to 5.5. So this is a good trade I caught. But even if you didn't hold it through news and you got out right before news and you got in that breaker candle, you would have had stops below. You could have caught a 1 to 2 before news even dropped. So that's what I'm saying. Just using the higher time frame on the 5 minute is so beneficial. It'll help you in so many ways. Just understanding where gaps are, understanding where liquidity is. Like, let's go back. Let's look at this. Let's look where liquidity and gaps are. So as you can see, we have a bunch of liquidity sitting up top here. We have a bunch of gaps coming down from London session. I'm not going to mark them up perfectly, but there's just a bunch of gaps right there. Got another gap right there, and we go to the 1 hour and there's even more gaps. As you can see, there's this huge gap up there that needs to eventually get filled. So I did look at that. I was like, you know what, I actually like where my TP was at that 1 to 5. It was at I think this was actually London high, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this was London high. So it just made a lot of sense. If you got the perfect entry, it would have been a 1 to 7. But obviously I didn't get the perfect entry, so I couldn't monitor this trade in. It played out while I was getting my surgery done, and it just ended up hitting. When I woke up, I was like, damn, maybe I should just check my trade, and I saw it hit the 1 to 5 take profit, which is kind of crazy. And then that was Thursday. But let's now move on to the last trade of the week, which was actually a really nice trade. So this was on NAS, just a regular, I think this was just a regular 5 minute demand. There was no higher time frame confluence. So yeah, just a regular 5 minute demand. We had a breaker structure. We broke this high. We broke this high right here, and then we broke a couple of minor highs like that there. And then I think, yeah, and we broke that high up there. I'm not gonna mark that, but yeah. So we broke a couple minor highs, came back into this demand. As you can see, that London was bearish. We get the New York classic reversal. There were a couple demands hit before as well. There was one right there, and this demand didn't end up getting tapped. So this was just a classic New York reversal demand. Got in at break of the candle, so I'll mark that up. So I got in right there at break of candle, and I just looked for the 1-to-1 because it was a Friday. No need for me to go for any higher stuff. If it's a Friday, I'm already up so much. Like this GU trade, I hit a 1 to 5, but I risked very small on it because I couldn't really monitor the trade. But still pretty crazy. Really good week, probably one of my best weeks I've ever had. And yeah, just DM me if you got any questions about how to trade supply and demand. Join up the free Discord, join up and follow me on Instagram. But that's all I got in this video. Make sure you guys keep grinding, keep getting to the next level, and I'll see you guys in the next video.